Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Let's Talk show here on UrbanCast. I'm Jack, and today we are highlighting one of the last chances to enroll in a life-changing opportunity for young people. We're joined today by Marco Molina, and he's the public relations lead for the Louisiana National Guard Youth Challenge Program, better known as YCP. He's here to speak directly to our families, especially those with teens looking for structured purpose and a second chance. We'll also be reminding you of an upcoming YCP interview opportunity happening this Saturday, May 31st at 10 a.m. at the Four Points Hotel here in Alexandria on North MacArthur Drive at 2225 North MacArthur. For the class that's going to begin here on July the 13th. Feel free to comment with questions like this broadcast, share this broadcast. Let's try to make sure that everyone who's following us and different things of that nature and saying, hey, we need something for our youth to do, we want to try to get that message out that this is one of those things to do. Marco, go ahead and tell us about yourself and tell us a little bit about the Louisiana National Guard.
Jack, thank you so much for having me. We are the Louisiana National Guard Youth Challenge Program. We are a free, I'll say that again, I'm going to say that often because I want to make sure that anybody tuning in late or anything like that knows that we are a free residential program. Students come to us and they are learning about getting structure. They're learning about getting discipline. They're learning about trying to be successful young adults whenever they're finished with our program. And with the Youth Challenge Program, YCP, that's what we do here. That's all we do here. So students that are just struggling, no matter if that's at school, no matter if it's at home, work, whatever it's going on, we want to take those young people. We want them to come to us. Let us help teach them up, get them to where they need to be, hopefully teach them some skills that they can take with them. So whenever they're done with our program, they can be successful. That's what we want for our young people. These young people that live in our communities, they are our neighbors. They are people that we depend on, we see every day. Why would we not want to take an active role in making sure that these young people are someone that we can see as an asset, someone that we can count on, instead of someone that's a liability that we got to worry about all the time. And that's the goal of the Youth Challenge Program, making sure these young people are set up to be successful adults.
Right. Again, Marco, I tell you, and I want to reiterate it, and I'll probably reiterate it as often as I possibly can during this broadcast. We often, when we're covering the news of what's actually happening here in the Alexandria, Pineville, and Central Louisiana area, we're often talking about, the family. We're talking about young adults. We're talking about, them succeeding or not succeeding. Well, here's one of the ways that I know for sure that it does provide that structure and that guidance and that the mentorship and all of that kind of good stuff, all built into that 5-month-long program. And if we're going to be about it right now, it's time for us to start being about it. And if that means talking about this program, let's talk about it. And let's talk about it a little bit more, even when we're done talking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I apologize. This conversation is about you and not about me, but I thought I'd plug that in there just then. Tell me this, what kind of persons are y'all looking for in the program, and who's the program designed for? What are the eligibility requirements off the bat for the program?
Yeah, no. So And we accept 16 to 18-year-olds. I know it's a kind of a tight window, but that's the student that we want to take, both male and female students. And again, someone that might just be struggling, someone that's hit roadblocks or just have not being successful, either in a traditional school setting or hey, we're at summertime. School's out. Did you pass? Have you been successful? Those students that may not have been successful or able to complete their freshman year or their sophomore year. We have students that come here sometimes that are really behind. We have some students that have dropped out and hadn't been to school in a couple of years. We want to get those students back because for the most part, if you're going to get a job anywhere, they want you to have some sort of education. They want you to be reliable. They want you to be dependable. And we want to help those young people get that, understand that. You learn those responsible characteristics that employers want. We want you to be employable. We want those students to be, well, mainly we want students to be successful. So whatever they're doing, we used to get a lot of students that are, I want to be influencers. And, 5-10 years ago, that wasn't a thing, but now it's kind of a thing. But, what we realize is that even those people, they're hustling. They're out there doing and putting in the work. And, we want young people to be educated enough to do that. So anyone that might just be struggling or having a trouble, maybe focusing on stuff, we want to teach you that structure. We want to teach you those skills to be disciplined, to work on yourself so you can be whatever you want to be.
Right. A lot of times families might ask, how much does it cost to attend YCP?
Again, we are a free program. So students come to us for 22 weeks. That's that 5.5 months. They live there, eat there, sleep there, go to school there. We're going to clothe them, feed them, make sure they have a place to sleep every night, make sure they get to school every day. We want to take that guesswork out of the things that families struggle with. We don't want you to worry about stuff. We're going to give your young person a uniform. They're going to have to worry. They're not going to have to worry about clothes or shoes or anything like that. We want to make sure they're ready and set up for success. Set up with all the stuff that they don't have to worry about. Some of these young people that are struggling in school, we try to figure out what's going on in their lives. And, the reality is, you're not paying attention in math at the end of the day. Well, yeah, it's because I'm worried about picking up my younger siblings and figuring out what we're going to eat tonight because mom or dad is working in this evening. So I'm the one that's in charge. So I got real life stuff to worry about. It's hard for me to focus at the end of the day when I got things that we need to focus on. So we want to take all those challenges that, may hinder someone, and we want to really get them to be focused on their education so they can, again, be successful.
Some of the material that I was reading about YCP, it talks about a 17-month program, and then we talk about the 5.5-month program that they're actually in the program. So can you explain that timeline and what we can anticipate in that kind of
stuff? Absolutely. So, when students come to us, they come residentially for 5.5 months. That's the residential portion of the program. But after that portion is over, they enter in what's called the post-residential phase. Now, what that is students go back home. They go and live. They go and are doing whatever they had planned to do. They come up with action plans so they can be successful, and they execute those. But what happens is life is hard, and you go back to this environment with all your friends and your peers that have not made these strides over 5.5 months. And it's sometimes you need someone to talk to and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can I talk to you? We have case managers that work with these students for a whole year after they complete the program. You're looking for a job. How can I help you do that? Hey, I'm struggling. I need to find some housing. I'm 18 now. I'm away from my parents. I'm struggling to find that. Great. We're going to help you do that. We want these young people, again, life is hard after that. So we don't want to leave these graduates high and dry. So for a year after the program is completed, the residential phase, we will keep in contact with them to hopefully help them be successful and say, encourage you, how can I help you? What do you need? And how can I help you find that?
So that's that big follow-up period behind the
Yeah.
program just to make sure. Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But some people think that think of YCP as boot camp. Is that accurate? And what would you say to the parent or teen who's a little bit nervous about that?
My phone rings a lot, and it's the family say, or is this that boot camp for bad kids? I go, no, but I know what you're looking for, and that can be us. But the reality is, in 2025, we have students that come to us for a lot of different reasons. We have students that have been put out of school, that they have been expelled, they can't go back. Students that are suspended, have gotten in trouble with the law, things like that. And again, through the interview process, we make sure that we have a safe environment for all the kids here. But the reality is, we have a lot more kids that are just struggling in school, maybe because they're not being challenged enough, or maybe because they're not getting enough attention. We have smaller classrooms, so our instructors can really help them stay focused with that. So I remember this one kid. He goes, look, he's like, my great grandfather was a farmer, my grandfather was a farmer, my daddy was a farmer. Guess what I'm gonna be? I don't need calculus 2 to so he was just ready to be done with school so he can get in and on with his life. So we understand that. So a lot of students come to us for a lot of reasons. We do have some students that really are interested in the military, and it's a kind of, we train to standards. So those students that want to enter the military, we can give you a very good insight.
Right.
I always tell parents to go, look, we're training students, not soldiers. But they will get that discipline and be ready to go. And if they can't handle YCP, the military might be a little challenging for them, but
right. And which brings up another question for you. They actually get, if they completed the YCP program, they don't go in just as an E1 enlisted. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. You can get in a little bit higher. Forgive me, I don't exactly know the exact rank as you get in there, but because of the standard that we train to, so we have a lot of students. I spoke with you earlier about this. We have a lot of graduates that end up entering the military, mainly because that structure, that discipline that they had while within the program, they thrived in that situation. They were being successful in that situation, so they turned it into a career. And that's their job, entering the military. So right. I think it's a great option for young people that still might be a little, lost or, undecided on what they want to do. Students that come to the Youth Challenge program, they take the ASVAB. So they learn those skills that they're really good at that they might not even realize. And then, we try to train them up, or the military will try to train them up doing that, but if they choose to do that. So
well, it's a good point, and I can definitely tell you that I'm somewhat familiar with YCP. My son attended YCP over at Camp Beauregard, and he completed his high set within 3.5 months of being in the program. And and from a parent standpoint, I definitely would like to just say big kudos to YCP and everything that you guys did, because the one thing that you guys were able to do that the regular school system wasn't able to do. And again, I'm not talking about the regular school system or anything, but Brandon had Brandon had tons of energy, and probably gonna be on the phone calling me in a few minutes and go, Daddy, you said, but he probably won't, because he went on into the National Guard and he did a lot of good things. He is an insurance adjuster now. So the structure that you guys actually brought to the table was just second to none. And burning that energy up that he had during a normal business day, you guys were able to find something to burn that energy up and where he was ready to go to bed at night.
they always say we're going to get stronger, we're going to get smarter. Whatever you want to do, we're going to do. So, if we're gonna we need to do out some exercise, we can do that. We want to study, we can do that. But we're going to do something like that. We've been around for 30 years. This will be the beginning of our 31st year. We just celebrated our 30th anniversary this December. So we've graduated over 29,000 young people in Louisiana.
Wow.
Right. So, nationally, the program has graduated over 200,000. So this is something that young people can, there are plenty of success stories that I have. Too many for me to, always have to put out there. But again, my job is easy. I get to brag on our young people and talk about how awesome they are. They want to be good students. They want to be employable. They want to be, they want to make their families proud. That's what they want to do here, and we see that. And so it's a great thing that, that these young people that have an opportunity to have here in Louisiana. And again, it's free, free to Louisiana resident, U.S. citizen. Again, 16 to 18-year-old students that, just need something different in their life at the moment.
Right. You talked about we kind of talked a little bit about the HiSET. What other educational opportunities or academic options at YCP could one gain while they're there?
Yeah, so the majority of students, probably about 90%, are pursuing their HiSET. And that's still pretty tough. I mean, there are students that are a few years behind. Some students that come in reading at a first grade level. So, it's a challenge for them to get there. So their best bet is to pursue their HiSET and hopefully be able to obtain that. But there is another pathway, and that's the course choice credit recovery pathway. That's where students, again, based on talking with their original school, whatever school they're coming from, students can earn high school credits while with us. So everything YCP is the same. The only different part is whenever they go to school. And when they go to school, they can basically earn those credits, do those credits that they can be doing in the school anyway, catch up credits that they might be behind on. And hopefully the goal is for them to graduate with in 4 years, like they were, like high school was designed to do. They go back to school. So they're a sophomore, they come here, they do their part of the sophomore year, and then they're returning on track, more disciplined, more focused, a better student when they go back to school. That's the goal. The thing that happens a lot, we just had, it's May, so we just had a few of our soon-to-be graduates actually be able to walk and graduate with their home schools. So they were able to come graduate from our program. They will graduate, or they have graduated one of the other programs, and they got to wear their cap and gown of their high school and graduate from there. So this was someone that at some point thought, this kid's a dropout. He's not focused. Right. He can't get this together. And then they just graduated a very hard 22-week residential program, and they also graduated from their high school. So those are great stories that we love to hear and we love to talk about. So,
YCP is a little bit more than just the academics. Can you share a little bit more about the other components of the program, like job skills, health, education, leadership development, etc.?
Absolutely. So everyone, that comes to the Youth Challenge program has to show a gain or an increase in knowledge or skill in 8 different core components that we have. And life coping skills is at the very top of that. Again, we want these young people to be ready for life. I always use the examples like, hey, your boss may tell you one day, hey, man, you're great. You work hard. We love the way you fit in with us. I just need you to make sure that you're here on time. We can't get started until you're here. You're 10 minutes late, and some of these young people right now, if I told them that, they'd cuss me out. You know, they'd be like, "You can't tell me what to do. I can do whatever." So I'm like, "All right, let's just reset and think about what just happened. Your employer just told you he loves you. He thinks you're doing a great job. He thinks you're a wonderful person. He just needs you to be on time. That's just that, that those are all just facts. So, we teach those life coping skills. Just because someone says something to you, that doesn't mean we need to just get a little, go off the handle. So again, academic excellence is one of those, another one of those core components, and then job skills. We try to teach these young people how to how to attend an interview, how to dress, how to make sure you present yourself well, things like that. Write resumes, responsible citizenship. Our students just planted flag there at our Carville location, one of our 3 locations. They just planted flags for Memorial Day at the Capitol. So that's one of the things, again, realizing you're part of something bigger. We try to make sure that students get registered to vote if they're age appropriate, and things like that. So leadership and followership is a big one too. Leadership, we always talk about leadership and the skills you need to have there, but we don't talk about followership a lot. If you're not a good follower, are you going to be able to be a good leader? If you're acting up and doing things, and then and then now it's your turn to lead, and then someone's acting up and doing the same things you were, I was like, do you realize how it may affect the team and things like that? Health and hygiene, these young people, they come from all over, and again, we don't know how involved some of this things we talk about, bathing correctly, brushing your teeth correctly, making sure you go to the doctor, and then like tobacco and stuff like that. We try to make sure that these students just learn and know the dangers and just the different situations that are there. Community service, that's a big one for us. They do community service projects around the community. We just want them to realize that you may be 16 or 17 or 18, but you are part of this community. I always say, I was like, look, every day you have an opportunity to make the place you live better or worse. What are you going to do? Because that's picking up a piece of trash. That's, maybe helping somebody that might need a hand. So we want to make sure that these young people realize that they are impactful even at the young age that they have. And then physical fitness, we want to make sure that, some of these students come, we do a little exercise, especially in those first parts of the program. And these kids come from playing video games 15 hours a day, so they getting off the couch and making that kind of that health and hygiene, kind of the same thing. Just trying to make sure that you're not leading, you're leading a healthy, experience in life. So
what are the long-term outcomes you've seen from YCP graduates? Do many go on to college, get jobs, or join the military? Like I said, I know I have one that decided to go in the National Guard and then become an insurance adjuster. So,
So we have about an 82 to 85% placement rate.
Okay.
Only about 4% enter the military, believe it or not, and that number might be a little skewed because we track them. We keep in touch with them for a year. So, but the majority of our students are 16 that probably come here.
Right.
So they're not even age eligible to start that process yet. So, but we have plenty of students that complete their high set and then enter in a trade school or enter in a 4-year university. The Youth Challenge program has funds where they can provide assistance in furthering your education and stuff like that. So, and then something new that we've had, or not new, we've had it a while back, but it's something we do now, is called the Job Challenge program. And a lot of our students are trying to do that. That's where it's only available to YCP graduates. Students can come and earn a trade while they're learn a trade while they're with us. It's another free residential program in Carville where students can learn. I think they're doing culinary, heavy equipment operator, welding, phlebotomy, and why am I drawing a blank? Electrical. They can earn a trade in these 5 areas where they are trying to, again, they're going to get ahead of everyone. They're going to get their tip card. They're going to get their OSHA certification. They're going to learn the ins and outs of this so they can go work for someone that someone doesn't have to teach them all the way from blank. So these are the things that our young people do. You know, some start businesses, some are good. You know, we have a lot of success stories of, you know, there's some multi-millionaires and stuff like that. And then we have a lot of success stories of people having families and doing what they're living in their hometown, and everything is great. And I love those stories just as much as I love any of the other ones. That's what we want to. Again, these kids are our neighbors, and they're
right.
adults. And what they're doing also is making sure that, you know, we've started to have some students, past graduates, that they've sent their kids to U Challenge because they knew it was something that, in a time that they really needed it, let them be successful in life. So.
Right. Let me ask you this: can you walk us through the application process? How can somebody apply? What do they need to do? To bring an interview on a Saturday? You know, like I said, you stated it earlier that the program is designed. If you live in if you're a citizen of Louisiana, you can apply for the program, and so that you guys are not taking a look at anyone's income or anything like that to make a determination whether that child can, obtain your services, right?
Correct. We are funded by the state and federal government. So if you have no income or all the income, it don't matter to us. We want you to come. We are a free program for families, and I think that's a big deal for a lot of families there. So you can apply online on our website. It's www.langycp.com, or you can call us at 1-800-CAMP-KID. And either of those are 1-800-226-7543. You know, our application is online. Fill it out. We'll get you guys ready to go. And if not, again, our free program that we offer starting July 13th, there is one final interview, and it's going to be in Alexandria for the class that begins in Pineville in July. It's going to be Saturday, 10 a.m. At the Alexandria Convention Center, the Four Points Hotel, and at 2225 North MacArthur Drive. If you don't get your application in, if you don't call us, you can show up on Saturday at 10 a.m. and we will take care of you. We will get you what you need. Your young person needs to be there. That's the big thing. If you're going to apply, your applicant needs to be there. We're not a boot camp for bad kids. We can't, no judge is going to sentence anybody to come to the program. We are a volunteer program. So we want, we want people that want to make that change in their life. And that's how we want to do it. So we'd love to help.
Is there anything special applicants should do to prepare for this interview on Saturday?
No, I wouldn't say so. Just be honest with the person doing the interview, and honest with yourself. Hopefully, you're a young person. If you're listening, if you're a young person, you realize that things might not be going the way you thought they'd be going at this stage. So if a change needs to happen, this might be a good opportunity to do that. You can still work on getting your education. You hadn't been to school in 3 years. Well, we can help get you back into there. Or you've been to all the school, the summer school, and anything. We can help you stay focused, get on track, and help you do that. Doing it alone, doing it online, that's a tough thing to do. So our instructors can help you get there if you need to. So nothing you need to do to prepare. Just be honest with them when they ask you questions, and we'll go from there.
If a parent is on the fence, or a parent isn't sure, what would you say to encourage them to take that first step
Yeah, I'm gonna have him call you Jack. No, just look.
Bottom line, huh?
I want families to realize that this is something that this is a great opportunity for everyone to kind of take a deep breath. And I never want to say this to parents, but I think it's a really true thing. It's a good opportunity to get some space if all you're doing is butting heads, and there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of finger pointing, there's a lot of blaming. It might be a good chance for you to kind of get some space so you can let your child realize how much you care about them. Coming here, they're kind of cut off from the world. They don't have their cell phones while they're here. I might have lost some people right there, but they don't have, the teenagers don't have their cell phones while they're here. But it's a good chance for you to write letters to them read those letters from you, and realize that you've had their back from the beginning. And that's all. That all you want is for the best for them. This is an opportunity for them to kind of realize that. And you come out, you get to graduation, and there's a lot of happy tears, and that's the greatest thing for families. So,
well, I tell you, Marco, again, just trying to cover the news and what we do, and just sometime perusing the comments. If families are struggling right now at this point, and you're looking for an opportunity, or quote unquote out, in my opinion, you've challenged is one of those opportunities to pave a different path forward for your child and for the whole family, as and everybody around you. So, I would encourage anyone to at least do their due diligence, and then actually go through the interview process and ask the questions, the tough questions, and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, I think they'll see a young man, young woman that not the same person that went in, and for the better, for themselves and for the community as a whole. Is there anything else that we didn't cover here, Marco, that you might want to share with everyone?
If you can't make the interview on Saturday, that's okay. We will have another class. We have 6 classes that start a year. We have 3 different locations. So one is in Pineville. That's the one that's starting in July. The next class will be Camp Minden near Shreveport. That will begin in August. And then we'll have another one that starts in October. That's our Carville location just south of Baton Rouge. So, and then after that, we'll have another class that'll begin in January, February, and March, and they kind of switch the location. So we always have a program starting. We always want to be a resource for families in Louisiana. Please let us do that when we want to be able to handle or help, families that might be struggling. I get a lot of tears on the phone, so people struggling, they don't know what to do. And hopefully we can be an answer for them. I'd say stay tough, stay strong. We want to get your child in here, let the process work out. So it's 22 weeks, not 5, not 8, it's 22. Leave your student in there, and we will help them be successful as much as we can.
Wow. Yep. Well, I'll tell you what, Marco, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today on a short notice, by the way, for all of the work that you guys and the entire cadre over there at Louisiana National Guard do to help young folk find their path. To our listeners out there, this Saturday, May 31st at 10 a.m., is your chance to take that first step, to help find a different path for your young child. And that's going to be at the 4 Points Hotel here in Alexandria, 2225 North MacArthur Drive, for the interview, and get your application in for the July 13th class. If the information that you guys have heard this afternoon touched you, please comment with your questions, likes, and shares of this broadcast, and let someone in your circle know that change is still possible for your children. I know I hear a lot of times that there's no hope for these kids, but I think that the Louisiana Youth Challenge Program definitely is a ball of hope for our kids. And before we go, I also want to thank our supporters who make these conversations possible. Sattler's Towing, Long's Preferred Products, Legendary Kung Fu and Tai Chi, and also our class of 25 sponsors, Attorney Tiffany Sanders, Sattler's Towing again, and Rapides District Attorney Philip Terrell. I'm Jack. I want you guys to stay encouraged out there, stay involved, and we'll see you the next time. And the next time actually is again today. I'll be interviewing DJ Truck, who's a wide receiver for an NFL team. He's going to be talking about their summer program that they're going to have over at Ash this summer. And it's going to have a big component on it on health and that kind of good stuff. And you notice everybody want to talk about health. They're talking about it over at the National Guard. DJ, a wide receiver, is going to come in talking about it today as well. Until the next time, we'll see you the next time on the Let's Talk Show. If you could just hang on in there, Marco, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream.
Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.